Thank you for this question. I love it. Let me answer it. I'm going to try to do it quick, and I make no promises about that because I have a lot to say on it. By the way, my name is Keeley, and I'm a Cuddle Therapist. So, how do I not end up falling in love with my clients and vice versa if I'm cuddling them? That's a great question. And there's so many answers to this that are relevant, so many facets. Maybe I should. So to answer this, I'm going to talk about three things. One, how I do feel about my clients. Two, why I've never fallen in love with a client. And three, why I think that this is, why I think we ask this question. I care very deeply for all of my clients. I have genuine affection for them. And people use this word differently, but I'd say I love them. I care so much about them. But that never looks like romantic love for me. From moment one, we're really clear about the dynamic between client practitioner. And while we are cuddling, the session, and while I would never participate in anything I wasn't wholeheartedly willing to participate in, that's actually part of the agreements, but the session isn't for me. The session's for the client. Again, everything that we're doing, we're every step of the way authentically connecting around, and there's full consent on both parties around, but it's not for me. And so it's pretty easy to keep that clear communication and clear line of who that time is for. So like, because that role, the role that I'm playing in that person's life is really clear and communicated and defined, I'm not pulled to do anything other than the role that we have agreed we're both comfortable with. And I think one of the biggest reasons why we ask this question and why this seems like it would be really, really common, and I guess I'm still talking about from like the perspective of practitioner to client, because the other way, the client to the practitioner, whether they fall in love or not, that's a different conversation. But from practitioner to client, we, like, at least in the United States, we don't, as a culture, have a lot of commonly accepted social interactions between adults that include platonic touch. So for a lot of people, as they get into adulthood, the only time they're ever engaging in platonic touch or long hugs or cuddling is only with a romantic partner. And so because of that, we tend to associate touch with romance, and we tend to associate touch as inherently sexual. Those two things aren't true. That's not true for, they're not, I don't want to say it's not true, because some people do have that experience because of the association they have built with it, but it's not mandatory. It's not the only way to experience that. So, for instance, the more examples or the more practice and the more social settings in which it is perfectly acceptable or socially common to engage in platonic touch, if we had a lot more examples of that, we wouldn't ask this question as much. But our culture is just, and other cultures are very different. Other cultures, like, it's really common for friends, even two adult male friends, to walk down the street holding hands. Like, it's a cultural thing. And so because of my job and because of the access I do have to platonic touch via friendships that include a lot of it, or family relationships that include a lot of platonic touch, I don't have that ingrained association that cuddling and touch is romantic inherently. Because it's not inherently, it's just an association that many people have.